good week of practice. Finished practice today and feel good about where we are. We got a tough, well-coached, disciplined team in Ohio coming in that will come in with a mindset that they can create an upset here in Heinz Field. So our guys got to be mentally locked in, ready to go, and it's going to be a football game, and I'm glad we get to come back and play another one.
Pat, does the 11 a.m. start do anything different? Does it mean anything? Do you like that start? Is it?
You know what? I don't like it for the fans. I don't like it for you guys. You guys are like, I listened to Larry last night. Larry said, we got pregame starts at 9 a.m., So I don't like it for that reason, but for our football team, for our kids, I actually like it better than a night game. I think our kids enjoy it. We're, a morning football team, really, when you think about it. We go to class at night and we sit on our tails and listen to the professor, but in the morning we play ball. Sometimes I think we play better in the mornings than we do at night. Maybe that's all in my mind, but I like it. Again, I just don't like it for the fans in the stadium, and our Panther proud walk that we have in the morning won't be as electric it was at 7:30 at night.
Pat, you mentioned it in a statement yesterday, or at least addressed it, but Keyshawn's injury, given how well he had been doing in camp and then against Virginia, how significant of a loss is that for them?
Anytime we lose, anybody in our two deep, it's significant because it's a blow to our football team. We'll become stronger from it. Keyshawn will be stronger from it. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, and it's a shame. He planted it. It wasn't. If someone rolls into him, you'd feel one way, but when nobody rolls into you and it's you plant your foot and something pops, is when you really you just go wow. And that happened to me back in 1985, and it happens. It's part of the game. But you just feel for Keyshawn because it's not easy to tell him. Me and Coach Partridge had to sit in that office next door and tell him, and it's not easy. It's hard. These kids, they've worked their tails off for 8 months. Since January, he's had some injury issues, and you just feel bad for him. So he'll be better for it, and we'll get him back, and we'll probably do the Juan Price. He's got a 6-year deal, so he'll be 32 years old when he plays his last game here at Pitt.
So you're confident that medical red shirt could be an option?
I think for sure. I don't, looking at the numbers, I think for sure. So, but you can't even apply for that until after he gets done playing his last year. So it's a long way away.
Who are the guys that you think they're going to need to step up now?
Well, obviously Amir Watts has been a guy. We've, going into the season, we felt really good at the depth of our defensive tackle spot. Not as much at the defensive end spot, but Twyman's playing at a high level. Obviously, Amir Watts is, going to take on a bigger role there. Not going to have to sub him as much. And then Devin Danielson's been playing real well. David Green has been playing well, and Tyler Bentley. So those are, we got really those guys are the guys that you're going to see in there. And I can see all 5 of them playing tomorrow.
Those 3 redshirt freshmen you mentioned, what did they show you in camp that kind of gives you the confidence that they can perform, when given the opportunity, because they will have the opportunity?
Because that's what we do. We coach, and they've shown they can play. They're playing with good technique at times, and again, it's experience that they don't have. And sometimes I underestimate the experience, thinking it's easy. You played out there for since spring ball, and you did it all through camp. You're good, but when the lights turn on, as I've always said, so I guess I have looked at that. But when the lights turn on, we're going to find out who makes those plays, and I think that's what you find out. So we'll find out when they get more reps in there in the game time.
Does Ohio's run game try to, from what you've seen, do they try to attack the middle? Are they more trying to get outside?
No, they attack the middle. They run a lot of pistol, and they run really kind of a dive play. It's running right down the middle, so it's attacking inside both the 3 technique and the nose tackle. So that's kind of one of their favorite plays for sure. So we've worked hard on that all week with our D-line.
You're coming off Virginia, Penn State's next week. How do you avoid, these guys, some guys maybe looking past a team like Ohio, maybe especially younger guys? What do you do, or what do you say? Or
yeah, well, number one, we got respect for every one of our opponents. So number one thing is put the tape on and watch them. Okay, they're a good football team. They're well coached. They're disciplined. I've said that. You can see it on tape. Watch your quarterback. If you're a defensive player and you watch your quarterback, there's no way you walk out of that videotape saying, "Oh, let's think about next week." We're not ready for next week. We're ready for Ohio, and that's what we need to have our focus on, or we'll be miserable after the game too.
When you see this many knee injuries happening, do you maybe push some guys to wear knee braces? More guys wear knee braces, or is it not feasible for a defensive line?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. In practice every day, if you watch out there, our O-line and D-line wear knee braces. On game day, our O-line continue to wear knee braces because more people fall into O-linemen's knees. Usually the defense is running and keeping their feet moving. But our D-line practices with knee braces all the time. And, you know, Weaver gets hurt with knee braces on. He's got knee braces on, it didn't matter. So I sit there and, you know, say, why do we spend all this money, $1,000 on knee braces, and it doesn't even prevent what we wanted to prevent? I mean, if it happens in a game, the kids want to, Nolan Ulizio said, Coach, can I take my knee brace off in the game? I said, yeah, as long as you can guarantee me you don't get hurt. I mean, so he was first lineman since I've been here, and asked if he could take those things off, and he sees the D-line do them. Our D-line, we've never, ever made them use them in a game, but we make sure they wear them, just to keep them safe. It's just, but then, you wear them in practice, it doesn't even keep you safe there. So I don't know if we're getting ripped off by the knee brace people or not, but getting taken.
I think on Monday you talked about Paris Ford and kind of how well he played. It looked like he wasn't really part of the third down package, though.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of the reasoning behind that personnel there?
Well, I mean, it's just more. There's more defenses, more. You'll see him out there on third down this week. It's just a slow progress, and as a football coach, I never want to put, and I'm not saying put him in a bad situation, but I don't ever want to put someone in a bad position where it's not his fault, it's our fault. If I know like he's not going to execute as well in that, I just want to give him bits and pieces. It's no different than Jordan Whitehead when he was playing safety, and then first couple weeks I'm not going to let him play tailback. He played his first snap as a tailback in Notre Dame that week, but just slowly giving him more reins, and based on what Paris did last week in normal downs, he deserves to be able to take that next step, I think. So it's a matter of practicing maturely and making sure you're doing all the details right, because it just takes one guy to mess up everybody in that locker room. So I just want to make sure I don't put him in that position where he's out there and and that's anybody. I'm not just talking about Paris. I don't put anybody in a position where if they don't know what to do, it messes things up. We had a couple critical third downs that we got one guy out of place. All it takes is one guy not doing their job, and we got a problem. So. It's hard. I mean, it's offense and defense. I mean, there's 11 guys that got to work together as a team, and if one guy doesn't do his job, and that's sometimes that's why you see guys on the field that maybe aren't as talented as this other guy, but they're sound and will do the right thing.
Pat, after the game, excuse me, Kenny mentioned that just the timing between him and his receivers was kind of the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that improve in practice? Where have you kind of seen that?
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't. Here's the difference. And again, the lights go on in Heinz Field, and then the timing's off. The receivers running faster. Are the receivers running faster on game day than they do running practice? Is he hyped up and ready to go? I mean, all of a sudden the ball goes a little further. So those are all things that happen on game day, and that's when we go practice in Heinz Field. Hopefully your motors get going a little bit more, which we haven't since spring game. Prior to the opener. But things change a little bit as far as timing goes when you get into the show.
Is that something you'll do this season? Is practice at Heinz?
No, it's kind of hard to do that. Unfortunately, we wish.
Last year, about I don't remember the exact game, but there became a point where your offense became significantly more focused on the running game, where you made a change that was what's working and you wanted to go with it. How long do you have to give something before you're willing to make that kind of big picture change into the season?
It's a good question. You tell me when. It's how patient I can be, I guess. But we want to be two-dimensional, we certainly have to run the ball better than we did last week. But we have to also give it a chance, and we also have to you have to have several plays in a row. You can't go 3 and out to get the thing going, as I've mentioned. I got faith in our passing game that it'll get right. We can throw the ball. I got faith in Kenny, those receivers, and we got to protect the quarterback as well. So I've got there's a lot of things that go into throwing the football well, and there's a lot of things that go into running the ball well. Can you do both effectively? That's the key, and that's what we want to get to.
Frank Solich had said about how much you had worked with their defensive staff. When you're watching their defense, does it look very familiar? What's it like preparing for a defense that you've had a hand in?
It looks familiar for sure, and obviously there's slight similarities that like they're doing that maybe we don't do, and you wonder why. But there's some things that we see on tape that that we recognize with what we do. So there's a lot of that around the country. So
when you have 2 important guys go down, what do you have to do with the guys who are left to play as far as encouraging them and not letting them get down on saying, oh wow, everybody's hurt, and what was us? Do you have to do anything like that to encourage those guys to keep your heads up?
The guys coming in, you mean?
The new guys.
The new guys?
The guys
We don't
stepping up
do
for
it.
the guys. who-
Everybody wants to play. I mean, that's, today's society, man, that, it's everybody wants to go. So everybody's been ready. Everybody was ready last week. If they got one rep, they were ready for 41 reps. So they're all ready to go. I don't think we have to do anything for those young guys to, it's their opportunity to go. And we've got faith in them. They got faith in themselves. So now we need to see them go. They've been begging for these opportunities. So now the opportunities are there, and then we'll see what they have when the lights turn on.
You mentioned obviously some missed receivers open against Virginia, but a couple.
You saw it. I didn't have to mention it, did I? Did you see any open? Did you see any missed? So, and again, we got dropped. So yeah.
But there were a couple of times where it looked like Maurice was used in kind of in a unique way. One was almost like a pullback, read option from Kenny and flip it out to the outside, like a little screen, and then there was a tunnel screen that was just barely tipped. I mean, were you encouraged at all by those kind of little wrinkles that Mark implemented in trying to get Maurice the ball?
No doubt about it. I mean, the one ball that gets tipped, I mean, if that thing gets completed, there's nobody there. I mean, we got 3 linemen, maybe 1 guy to block, and I hope we make that block. I might go to the house. So, I mean, sometimes you're a hair away from being where you want to be, but I mean, nice play by that guy, but yeah, I'm encouraged by everything we do on offense. When you watch the videotape, you kind of, I mean, you didn't feel real good Saturday night, but when you watch the tape, it's like I said, it's not really, it's not really what they did, it's what we did, and we can fix a lot of things like that.
And final for Coach. Coach, thank you for your time.